Okay, this is CAD 212, Architectural Applications in CAD, Class 21 on November 16th. Going forward in class, we've got 3 classes before the Thanksgiving break. Today, Wednesday, and next Monday. Then we'll go on Thanksgiving break. We'll be back on the 30th. The project will be due on the 30th, and your final exam will be on Wednesday, December 2nd at the same time as class, except that it'll be at 9 in the morning on that day. Format for the final exam will be very similar to the midterm. So what we should expect for the rest of the semester is we're going to go over this new information today. This will be incorporated into your drawing. And for the next 2 classes prior to the break, we'll be talking about how we're going to bring the project together. It'll give you time to actually work on your project, get caught up. I think a few people are still a little bit behind. We'll be talking about how we're going to be creating sheets going forward, and really how we want to do a final presentation on this. And that way you'll have time to work on that for the next 2 classes. You can ask questions during that time period in the class, and just kind of use that as, this is usually the time live where we can use it to actually kind of work on your projects one-on-one. So when you come to class on the 18th and the 23rd, have any questions ready that you have, and if you want to talk about your project, we can do that, live during the class time period. Then we'll go ahead and break, and when we come back, your project will be due probably I'll give you till noon on the 30th to get that turned in. And we'll also have class that morning at 9:30, and then we'll review for the final, and the final will be similar to the midterm. So that's what to expect for the rest of the semester. Any questions about that before I jump into today's lecture? All right, if anything comes up, we have time before the break to do that, but that's what we can expect between now and then. So for today's class in Revit, we're going to be talking about tags, door tags, windows, or room tags, how to create a room separator, and how to tag, create those tags. We'll talk about room schedules, sheet lists, and color schemes. And then, of course, the important dates to remember: the project's due is November 30th, and the final exam is December 2nd. Later on this week, I'm shooting for tomorrow, you will get a file in Canvas for your final project, and that'll give you a list of everything that needs to be done in that, and you can start looking at that, and then we'll talk about that on class on Wednesday. So that's what this is what we've got going on for today. So let's go ahead and jump on into how to create tags. This is just another project I have working on. Some of you, I don't want to use that one. Let me use another one. Try this one. Okay. All right. This will work. So we talked about tags before. We were talking about construction documents. You'll notice that by the doors and windows and such, there's different symbols that show up for the different tags. So we want to make sure that we have those incorporated into our drawing as well. So we want to go to the Annotate tab, and we're going to go to Tag by Category. And when we do that, you'll notice that as we go over these different parts of the building, the tag will automatically show up that is associated with the different parts of the building. So our door tags are going to pop up here. Our wall tags will pop up that look like this. The only ones that you have to worry about are the door tags and the window tags. And the door tags are associated with the way that the doors were laid out. Numerically, the window tags are associated with a type of window. So if I had a different window type in here besides this one, it would have a different number besides 18. Notice when I bring these in here as well that we already have a leader attached to them. If you do not want the leader attached to it, you can go ahead and click on leader in the options bar and turn it off, and then it'll just, the symbol will pop up. There's different times that you want to use both of them. Sometimes they get in the way, sometimes they're, you know, sometimes it just makes things a little cleaner. I'll leave that option up to you whether or not you want to use it or not. So for this one, I'm going to have it turned off, and I'm just going to go ahead and drop in all my window tags. Notice how if I did have this dimension here, how it gets in the way, I would have to move that. I'm going to go ahead and just turn this off to make things a little bit cleaner for us. There we go. So I've got all my windows tagged. I'm going to delete those and show you another way to do that. So that was in Tag by Category. Now we also have this option here to tag all. So you can tag everything at one time. So we can do door tags and window tags. And here we can leave the leader off. And we'll go ahead and hit OK. And it'll automatically tag everything for you. So there's two ways to do it. You can do manually or automatic. Tag by category, tag all. Obviously, tag all is a lot quicker and more efficient. And there are times that you want to place them individually. There may be a time that you don't want to have all these. You're highlighting a section of the building that you just want this kind of highlighted. You just want them laid out here. So there's different reasons why you would use both. Obviously, for this project, the easier way would be to use tag all on that. I don't like the way these are kind of laid out here. When they're kind of squished in the room, so I kind of just move them out a little bit so it makes it a little bit cleaner to read. So you can adjust the location of these as well. So if you did that, when you adjust the location of them with the leader moves with it. Let's see. You can see I added the leader to this one here, how that would adjust. And I'll highlight this one and I'll add the leader to that one as well. So you can change that as you move forward and just have those laid out. So the tags are easy to use. So the next thing we want to do is talk about room tags. In that list, we'll also have that listed as a room separator. So for some of our larger rooms, they may have two different uses for them. And especially in a residential setting, when we have like our large open floor plans, there's going to be a section of that room that may be used as a dining room and another section as the living room, or great room would be part kitchen and part den. So we want to know how we can differentiate between the two rooms when we lay out our room tags. So we want to use this room separator tool. So you're going to go to Architecture tab, Room and Area panel, and this room separator tool. And it's just going to draw a line on your floor plan. but a very important line, because now when we lay out our room tags, we're going to be able to differentiate between this space and this space. So when we're laying out our room tags, we're going to go to Architecture tab, Room and Area panel, and this Room tool right here. Notice that when I come down to this Room tool now, it has this big X in the room across it, and it'll have a section over here for this room that I have with my room tag, and then where I have my room separator, it can tag this as a separate room as well. It's one larger room, but these are going to be two different functions in this space, and I want to be able to differentiate those. So I'm going to go ahead and start placing my room tag in my different rooms. And as you do that, notice we have the numbers that kind of pop up there. And I try and keep them aligned with that location line that pops up. Now this does look a bit squished, a bit tight here. I can change my view scale to make this easy to work with. Yeah, not as much as I'd like. Let's try that one. Too much. Okay, that's better. Just gives me room to kind of play with these tags, and they kind of look better there. Okay, so let's talk about the individual tags that we have, like this one, for instance. For each room and location, you want to make sure that you rename them. So you can just click on that and access that. And let's say this is a lecture. And this is a lab. This is a little low, so I don't know. That's better. You can also renumber the rooms by doing the same thing. If this was like 101, 102, so you can renumber them as well. And one thing I really like on here is the use of, does someone have a question?
Yeah, I didn't want to cut you off.
Okay.
Is the premises building is an office building, right?
I'm sorry?
Is this supposed to be an office building? I'm just
Yeah,
wondering.
we're doing,
Okay.
yeah, well, you can do office building, it's commercial building, so it can be either way. I just kind of use this as like a, yeah,
But
you
that,
can
no,
rename them at
okay.
offices. When we get to that point where we're actually talking about the names of the rooms, we can go into that a little bit more. I want you to use kind of different room names and things like that. I'm not going to tell you exactly how to list the room names, but the whole point of the building is that it's a commercial building, be it educational, an office building, however you want it to have that laid out.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So this will be like stairs. You can call this hall. In fact, if you want, if there was another way we could do it, we could call this circulation and name that part of the stairs circulation and this circulation, so they work together. There's a reason that we're doing that, and that goes to the color schemes. Office.
I had a question.
Yeah.
If you when you were identifying the different rooms or tagging each room, it was in sequential order. If you had adjusted the first one to be, let's say 101, would they have followed 102, 103?
I'm not sure. I don't think so.
Okay.
Honestly,
So
I don't. Yeah, I'd have to go back and just kind of do that, but you can kind of do that. Yeah. Let's see. So what we want to do is have some rooms with similar names, some with different names. And when we have this laid out in our color scheme, it'll make a little bit more sense. Here I have the different offices. I've got stairs, office, lecture lab, classroom, janitor, mechanical, office, restroom, and the hall and the stairs. You can label your rooms however you would like. Also use the same idea for the numbering of your rooms. If you want to come up with a different number scheme, you don't have to change the numbers. You can leave the numbers as is, just like this. However you feel you want to do that. But the main thing I want to see is different room names when you lay out these different room tags. Another thing I want you to be aware of is when we have these room tags and we click on those and make them active, if we go back to our properties and into our edit type, notice here if we have show area active, if we click on that, now it's going to show you the square footage of each area. So that's a nice little addition. So that's just a quick way to lay out our tags with our leaders and our doors and our windows and our room tags. Any questions about that right now, y'all? All right, the next thing we want to do is jump into room schedules. This is similar to what we've done before with using schedules in general. To create your room schedule, you're going to use the number, name, and area in that order. So in order to do room schedules, we're going to go to our View tab, our Create panel, and our Schedule tool. So we're going to do drop down and do our schedules again. And we scroll down here and go to Rooms. And I will use number, name, and area. And remember, if we got the order wrong here, we can always move that with the directional arrows here. So number, name, area, and okay. And that will generate our room schedule. We'll use this in our general information sheet. And this is similar to how we do our, obviously, how we do our window and door tag schedules as well. This should be very familiar. All right. Sheet lists, I believe we've done sheet list again, but we'll go ahead and just review that. So in our View tab, Create panel, Schedule tool, go down to sheet list. And on sheet list, we're going to do sheet number and sheet name. And okay, and that'll create that sheet list. We already have some started, so you can see that they're there. And as we add sheets, they'll add there as well. So all that should be kind of a repeat of what we've done before. Any questions about that old stuff? All right, so this is the main thing I wanted to kind of go over with y'all today is really the color schemes. Color scheme is like a visual representation of what the space usage in that particular floor is going to look like. This is used a lot when we're talking about talking to our client about how their space is going to be used, and this is why we wanted to make sure that we have all of our rooms labeled with the appropriate names. So we'll go ahead and jump into that and how that works. So to create our first color scheme, we're going to go ahead and duplicate the view. So we've done that before. So just for level 1, I'm going to go ahead and right click and do duplicate view. So if I just duplicate the view as is, it's going to just give me like a blank floor plan like this. But if I do duplicate view with detailing, it's going to give me a copy of everything that I've done with it so far, including my my annotations. So what I'd recommend is for this particular idea is to go ahead and use this one right here. So when you do it, go to level 1, duplicate view, and duplicate with detailing. And that way you'll have all this information already laid out, which is what we want. So now I want to go ahead and rename. It's going to be level 1. I'm going to call it message. Now I'm going to go back to my architecture tab. I'm going to go to my room and area panel, and I'm going to do the drop down at this point. When I do the drop down, that's when my color scheme is going to show up. And then it's going to give me this new window like this. So once again, this is just a matter of the process of how we do everything. So the first thing you want to do is come over to schemes, categories, and we want to change this to rooms. And we want to have this labeled by name. We can change the title to room usage. And it's automatically going to assign each different type of room that you have, be it classrooms. If you have multiple classrooms, they're all going to be labeled with the same color. And it's automatically going to assign a color. It'll be a solid fill. You can also change the pattern on that if you wanted to, but we want to keep everything at solid fill right now. And this is what the color that they're using to assign it is. You can change the colors just by clicking on color, picking another one, and then just adjusting the tone of it. And there we can change the color to any kind of colors you want. I'm not telling you what color scheme to make. You can use the one that comes in here, but you can also change it. Some of the colors I use are a little garish, so you can change that to whatever you want it to be. So just change those up like that. And I'm going to hit OK. So it didn't do anything. So how do we fix that? We go back over to our properties. And we scroll down to color scheme. Here it's set to none. Click on that, and it's going to bring us back to that same window that we had before. So we have to change it to the same information. So here I have to change this to rooms, name, and here's my room usage one, and I'll go ahead and hit OK. And there it's going to assign all my different rooms the different colors that I created. And this is just a quick visualization that we can take a look at so we can see what similar usage is going on in each one of these locations. So you can see we have 2 office spaces. This is my office space usage here. This is my restroom right here. It's kind of broken up. If you have a lot of rooms that are similar, it would be nice to kind of have those grouped as, like, I should have probably made another office or something, but I used this janitorial. But if we went back and change that, that would change the color of that as well. But you can see that it's just kind of a nice way that we can show a client, well, this is how these spaces are going to be used. Another nice way to kind of show that off is to add our legend with that. So to go to our legend, we're going to go to our Annotate tab, over to our Color Fill panel, and use our Color Fill legend. And just when you click on that, it's just going to bring the whole thing down like this. And it's going to have that assigned, so that way it's a lot easier for your client to read. And then if you wanted to move that down here, you can also change the way that looks if you want that to run like that. Depends on how you want it laid out. Or you can leave it like that. So there's different ways that we can manipulate the view of this legend. So we're just going to go ahead and leave it like this for now. I like to have that lined up with the left-hand side of the building. And then we want to create a sheet for this as well. So we'll go down and create a new sheet. For this project, we're going to go ahead and use a different sheet type. We're going to go ahead and go into load, title blocks, and we're going to use the 30 by 42 horizontal. Oh, that's already in there. No, I don't want that one. Sheet. Let's use a different one. Let's use the 22 by 34, yeah. So we're going to use a 22 by 34. So I have my sheet active. I'm going to come back to my project browser where room level 1 room usage. Click, drag, hold. And drop. That actually is pretty good spacing. Remember, with my drawing tag off, I can move my drawing tag. With my drawing screen active, I can shrink it. And then, of course, we'd go ahead and correct all this information here. Actually, that looks pretty good. I don't like the way this is kind of laying out here like that. So I'll just move that so it's uniform with the rest of them. And that would be that for that sheet. But this is just a nice little tool to have in your toolbox, just to give a quick visualization to your client of how the room usage will be laid out. Any questions about this, y'all? Okay, well, that finishes it up for today's lecture. Go ahead and start working on this and get it incorporated. You're not going to have a new assignment to keep track of your project until the final project is due. So this will give you time to get everything worked on for Wednesday in class. We'll talk about the final project, how the sheets are going to be laid out, and how to start pulling our sheets together and just kind of finishing everything up and be working towards getting this finished for the 30th. So unless there's any questions, we can go ahead and drop, and I'll get the actual lecture posted shortly today.
Thanks, bye.
All right, thanks y'all, have a good one.